just 1 year, Barclays Center has put Brooklyn back on the sports and entertainment map. Developer Bruce Ratner tells us what's left to do in year 2 and how he plans to turn Nassau Coliseum from a liability into an asset.
I think we can make that, honestly, one of the great venues in the world.
We take you out to an iconic racetrack that's in the midst of a major makeover and show you how a golf legend is reinventing himself as a high-tech teacher.
Rather than purely instruction, we've tried to look at a three-dimensional approach.
Plus, And One pumps the volume back up.
Let's go.
A classic hoops brand retools for the 21st century.
We're not just a big corporate brand. We're coming into your backyard.
Building stadiums and building brands. It's all in a day's work for Sportfolio. Hello, I'm Rick Horrow, and welcome to Sportfolio, Bloomberg's weekly inside look at the business of sports. In February 2012, real estate developer Bruce Ratner appeared on our show. And the centerpiece of his Atlantic Yards project, the Barclays Center, was still months away from opening. Bruce Ratner told us he was certain the facility would make an immediate impact on the fortunes of the Nets, the image of Brooklyn, and the sports and entertainment economy of New York. So far, he's been correct on all counts. In its first year of operation, Barclays Center hosted more than 200 events and attracted more than 2 million guests. More than 700,000 came to see the Brooklyn Nets, who averaged 17,000 fans per game, a 23% increase over their attendance in New Jersey the previous year. Barclays Center also led all U.S. venues in ticket sales and gross receipts for concerts and family shows during the first 6 months of 2013. The building also hosted championship boxing events, college basketball, and preseason hockey games, contributing to its selection as Sports Facility of the Year at the 2013 Sports Business Awards. Bruce Ratner joins us now to talk about the big picture of the Barclays Center and its success as a linchpin for urban economic development. Bruce, let's talk beyond the arena. Appreciate your expertise. And this is supposed to be, obviously, a catalyst for the greater good and the neighborhood. Has it satisfied all of your internal benchmarks?
Beyond what I could have even expected. We all thought it would be great. It turned out to be greater in every kind of way, whether it be the fact that we're #1 in the United States in terms of tickets sold for the last 3 quarters, or whether it be the restaurants that have opened up and done well, or whether it be just the satisfaction of the community around with our programming, with the look of the place, and so on. So I'm very proud of the team that put this together, and it just worked out great. That's the best way to say it.
And we also understand that as a developer, it does take time to generate the significant impact around the neighborhood. What about as a retail hub? Has it been satisfactory? Is it on schedule?
It depends if you look at the landlord or the tenant. From the landlord's point of view, across the street there's a storefront that was renting for $50 a foot. It's now renting for $250 a foot. So rents have increased because you've got tremendous activity. Restaurants, stores opening up. In 1 year, it's had a remarkable impact on retail, restaurants, and so on.
You're also looking, and there was a published report saying you were actively looking for an investor for a piece of the development. You would maintain operational control. How's that going?
It's going very well. We've got a lot of interest, and it's going to be terrific. It's going to allow us to build even quicker than we anticipated. It's a very costly project. Traditionally, developers like us take partners.
You've also got a construction issue, the B2 modular apartment tower next to Barclays Center. Talk about modular construction, what the advantages are.
Well, the biggest problem for a developer in an urban area is you come up with an idea today and you don't finish it for 5 or 6 years. So you have costs going up, up, and up, and you've got to have a way to control that. And so what we've developed, it's taken us 5 years and many millions of dollars to develop a modular construction method. It's not prefab. It's modules that go up one by one. They're done in a factory, completed all the way down to the towel bar, and then they're put on piece by piece. Think of a bunch of blocks going up and then tying them all together, and they become units. And the quality is excellent, the sustainability, and actually architecturally it'll look better probably than conventionally. And so we started on that building. Our first module gets put in place over the next 3 or 4 months.
Basically built based on demand.
Based on demand. The demand, by the way, the Brooklyn market is the best real estate market right now in the country, believe it or not. There's 3,000 or 4,000 apartment units being built in Manhattan. There's maybe 800.
The Islanders coming in, long-term deal. How does that look from your perspective now?
In 2 years, they will move. The team is getting better. They've got a lot of very good young players. And I think just like the Nets, it's going to hit its stride right at the right moment. Charles Wang's done actually a very good job with with a difficult situation in that arena. He's slowly built up a young team, which is good. And I think his decision to move to Barclays is going to really help. It's going to help the whole thinking. It's going to help get free agents and everything. So
the irony and synergy is that 40 miles to the east, you're downsizing a building that you're taking operational control of. Tell us about the Nassau Coliseum.
It's a bit of an irony, but nevertheless. So Nassau Coliseum was built 41 years ago. It's in terrible shape. One call it even a wreck. You can't get a lot of artists to play there. Nothing is great about that arena, frankly, except for the bones of the arena. So we won in a competition to redo that arena, and it's very exciting because I think we can make that, honestly, one of the great venues in the world in terms of iconically. First, it will look incredibly different. It will look beautiful. And Nassau and Suffolk are the third and fifth richest counties in the United States. And it's a great concert venue, a lot of economics out there, good demographics. I think it can be a fantastic arena.
So let me get this straight. You won the right to spend $230 million of private dollars to renovate a building that'll have no NHL tenant again. But it's a winner to you.
It's a tremendous winner. You know, the number one venue in the world is the O2 in London, and it does not have an anchor team tenant. I don't think today that makes a very big difference. Why? Because you have more concerts last year than ever in the last decade. You have boxing, which we now have in Brooklyn, which we can bring to Nassau. You have college basketball, and you have family shows. And that's a great market for all four. And this market in this region is just so strong that you can absolutely do a great job with an arena that does not have a sports team. I would argue you can make this a very special place.
So let's get this straight again. 230 sports, arts, entertainment, infrastructure facilities done in the last 2 decades, decade and a half, $3 trillion of overall infrastructure. Give us elevator speech, words of wisdom. Give us some advice on how these buildings are developed today.
The first word is persistence. The second word is persistence. And the third word is persistence.
And maybe tenacity.
Tenacity, right. We could get different synonym for the same thing, which is just really have to stay at it. And, of course, that's everything about success always. So that's the first thing. Second thing is you've got to make sure the market's there. We happened to build in an incredible... We felt it was a strong market. Many others did not. It turned out to be an incredibly strong market, this region and Brooklyn. And the third thing is you just have to have done it a lot. You just can't walk in and think that you can do a public-private partnership with a lot of infrastructure, a lot of cost, a lot of financing. I mean, that is what our company specializes in. And there are not a lot of companies in the country that are able to do large-scale projects. We're fortunate we've built that kind of company.
Bruce Ratner, thanks. And good luck with the Nets. Good luck with the Islanders. Good luck with Atlantic Yards. Good luck with everything. Thanks.
And good luck to you very much.
Market maker Stephanie Ruhle recently toured Barclays Center with CEO Brett Yormark. Visit Bloomberg.com for an up-close look at what's going on with the Nets and Islanders as they build their businesses in Brooklyn. And coming up on Sportfolio, a classic facility getting a $400 million makeover. Follow me to the construction site at Daytona International Speedway, and you don't even have to wear a hard hat.
They've got to work from the outside. You know, we can't allow them on the racetrack itself with this kind of heavy equipment.
Stay with us. Sportfolio will be right back. Welcome back to Sportfolio. Comfort and luxury are not words we traditionally associate with the fan experience of NASCAR. But International Speedway Corporation, which owns Daytona International Speedway, has broken ground on a $400 million remodel that will give the facility many of the amenities that fans and sponsors have come to expect at contemporary stadiums. I visited the construction site with Daytona Speedway President Joey Chitwood and Len Mosier, who supervises Daytona Rising for contractor Barton Mallow.
Right now, we are drilling auger cast piles out here, and this is what this crane rig is doing. You can see the auger that's going to drill into the ground about 35 feet long, and we're going to fill that hole up with concrete, and that's what the new grandstands will sit on. We have over almost 2,500 of those to install. We're about halfway through right now. We've got about 1,400 in the ground.
So this is a job, a multi-crane, huge construction job. Describe what it's going to be like at its construction height.
Absolutely. So this is one crane of probably 4 to 6 that'll be out here. We'll start with 4 and we'll go to 6 cranes at the peak. And those will be anywhere from 2 to 300 ton cranes with large crane booms and jibs that'll be hanging out over the existing grandstand.
One of the unique challenges is that for the Barton Mallard team, they've got to work from the outside. You know, we can't allow them on the racetrack itself with this kind of heavy equipment. And so most sports venues, when they're built from the inside and the outside at the same time. No, one of the restrictions we've got on these guys is they can only work on the outside, which makes the cranes they use and the other equipment all the more challenging to get it done.
And so this is gate 8 out here, and where we're standing is the temporary location. We have to get 100,000 fans through these gates that at one time were back about 200 feet. We've actually relocated those gates out here to become a new entry point, and we'll actually feed those fans through our construction site to get them to their seats safely.
So how difficult is it to incorporate all of this old infrastructure you see around you into the new design and the new implementation?
Sure, it is really challenging, but you know, 50 years of cabling going all over the building. Fortunately, we've got great engineers and a lot of time to plan and really schedule the work so we can take all the systems offline right now while we're working so we don't affect anything, and then have ample opportunity to get back, re-energize those systems so when the race events start up again that we're fully energized, all the systems are back in place, ready to go.
One of the things that when you talk about a 50-year-old property, there weren't as-built back then in 1959. And so one of the challenges as we go through this process is making sure we know where everything is, and is there things underground that we didn't know about. So that's one of the risks associated with it, and trying to take everything offline the right way. But I think the key was preparation, timing. We made sure that we had a good, thoughtful plan, and right now we're seeing some success with it.
The days of in the suites taking the piece of paper with a rock and throwing it over the press box to get a message out, those are gone?
Yeah, those are gone. You know, for sure, you know, the key is going to make sure that everything's connected. We know that's an expectation nowadays, but also right now we're holding off on some of our technology buy because who knows today what's relevant in 2 years from now. And you don't want to buy technology today that in 2 years is obsolete. So we're actually making the decision to hold off on certain technology until we get a better lead on, is this the right product to have? We also have to plan for interchangeability in the future, which is if we've got to change technology in 3, 5, 6 years, do we have a plan that can accommodate that? Because you don't want to get too locked into something that might not be around in 10 years. And so that's the uniqueness of really building venues nowadays, is the technology you use and how long you'll be able to use it.
This part of the grandstands is going to come out. The new grandstands comes out about 150 feet here to these orange covers that are sticking up. Those are our piles that go into the ground 35 feet into the ground. We've got 2,490 of them to put in. We're about 1,400 in the way there right now, so we're over halfway there.
We've had some folks visit us, just the phasing and the sequencing to do what we're going to do, which is to run the venue at the same time as we're constructing. We've had some friends from Disney show up and say, how are you doing this? Wait, does this really work? And so I think not just from our innovation, our renovation, the cool things that we're doing to make the experience great, but just the technology of actually doing it, constructing it the right way, how they're monitoring employees on call. I mean, it's a pretty impressive project all the way around.
Last week, International Speedway Corporation released its third quarter earnings report. It stated the company intends to finance Daytona Rising with cash on hand and cash from operations. It estimates $20 million per year in incremental revenues for Daytona Speedway once the project is completed in 2016. Coming up, another story of growth and change. The golfer Gary Player has never let his brand stand still. His son Mark tells us how the Black Knight is leveraging longevity.
Gary Player stands for diet, health, fitness. He's looked after himself like a Trojan.
And here's this week's Sportfolio Stumper. Daytona International Speedway is actually shrinking its seating capacity with the Daytona Rising project. Can you name the NASCAR Sprint Cup track with the largest permanent seating capacity? We'll give you the answer when Sportfolio returns. Here's the answer to the stumper. The NASCAR Sprint Cup track with the largest permanent seating capacity is Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Over 257,000 fans can pack in for the Brickyard 400. Last weekend at Muirfield Village, the U.S. team defeated the international side in the President's Cup golf tournament. The Americans have won the Cup 5 consecutive times since 2003 when the matches ended in a tie. And that event was held in South Africa, and the captain of the world team, Gary Player, and I'm sure our guest Mark Player remembers that weekend well, Mark, welcome to Sportfolio. Really appreciate you being here.
Delighted to be here. Thank you.
The President's Cup has done very well over the last 20 years or so. I'm sure it's gratifying to you and your dad.
Well, it is. I think it's unfair to make these comparisons between the President's Cup and the Ryder Cup. You know, if you look at the history of the Ryder Cup, it was nothing for my first 50 or 60 years. The President's Cup in its infancy, only 10 occasions they've played the event, I think has been tremendous. And it's a slightly different format, but it's been exciting and it's growing.
Well, it's growing, and frankly, your dad has been the key pioneer ambassador on the international side, but also for the event itself. Your dad's 78 years old, and frankly, he stands for so many things, but it's not just a golfer. He's a worldwide ambassador and an icon. Tell us a little bit about Black Knight and his role in Black Knight and the brand. Well,
in a nutshell, I mean, he's had a glorious playing career, but most of those end when you're in your 50s. Now, obviously, with the Champions Tour, the Senior Tour, you can extend your playing career a little bit. And our goal has just been to try and build a business that would transcend the playing career.
One of the developments is Revolution Golf. You've got a DVD that speaks a little bit about teaching, but teaching life's lessons as well. And it's rare that a guy who's nearly 80 is relevant to young, aspiring golfers in a golf video. Why is that doing so well?
Well, I think the key word you used there is relevant. How do you keep anyone as they're getting older, particularly in the world of sport or entertainment? How do you keep them relevant? This product is a golf instructional DVD series, but rather than purely instruction, we've tried to look at a three-dimensional approach. The skill set, of course, but then how you're thinking mentally, and of course what my dad is so well known for is his physical attributes. So how you mix those three elements together, we're excited about it. He has a lot to say, he has a lot to communicate, both in how you improve your golf, but perhaps more importantly, how you can improve your quality of life.
And every golfer, seemingly, whether they're qualified to do it or not, candidly, is a golf course designer. Your father and this entity is way beyond just a normal golf course designer. You opened up a new golf course near Greenville, South Carolina last week, which is unique because it's one of the only domestic openings out there. How do you do it, and what does it mean long-term to the domestic real estate golf market?
Well, I think we all know that the real estate market, the financial market, and they're so integrally linked to new golf course real estate developments it's been devastating in the U.S. I think I can't say there's any magic to us opening this new golf course because it's been 7 years in the making, and we have a new developer as the old one went bankrupt. So, but we were excited, we're pleased that we got it open, and it'll be one of 4 new openings that we have this year worldwide, and we have over 40 golf courses on the drawing boards, and half of those are actively under construction. So if you look at that portfolio, I nearly said sportsfolio. If you look at that portfolio,
thank you for the plug.
It's exciting for us, and it's vindication of a global approach to the game of golf that both my father took as a professional and that we as a company have taken for years and years and years.
Health and wellness space, your commitment with Humana. I know you're here on a tour to advance the Humana relationship and the event with President Clinton every year as well. Shrewd business move. That's basically recession-proof, isn't it? Everybody wants to get healthy.
Well, yeah, you hope so. You hope so. Certainly, it's become a lot more au fait. It's become a lot more popular today to say, that I'm looking after myself a little bit better. And so we like that relationship. Gary Player stands for diet, health, fitness. He's looked after himself like a Trojan for years and years and years, almost fanatically in some people's eyes. But today, perhaps those fruits of that labor in his late 70s, where he has blessed with all this energy and enthusiasm, is come to the fore because of that lifestyle. And so we hope that is something, that's a message that we can take to more and more people.
Doesn't it really upset you? The guy gets up, he can do 1,500 sit-ups, and then he says, look, I want to do more, and you can't, and I certainly couldn't.
I think he takes it so serious. He's always been a smaller guy, and he knew that he needed to be stronger to compete, and then it became a lifestyle. And he's tough to be around. If I put some butter on a toast, you'll say, you're not going to eat that, are you? And I say, yeah, I am.
It's a lot harder for us bigger guys to do anywhere near 15, let alone 1,500. Thanks to your dad and for his wonderful image and his ambassadorial nature in golf. Thanks to you for Black Knight. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Tell him I'm going to do 1,501 next time I see him.
I'm not sure I believe you, but I'll tell him anyway. Thanks for having me.
Coming up on Sportfolio, a new twist on a legendary basketball brand. And one is back in the sportswear mix. Will hoops and hip-hop take off again? Stay with us. Sportfolio rolls on. Next week, meet a man with a lot on his plate. Scott O'Neill is CEO of the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils. Hear how he plans to manage 2 teams in 2 sports in 2 different cities. You'll find it all in one place, 9:30 Thursday on Sportfolio. In the late 1990s, And One was one of the hottest basketball apparel and footwear companies around. It had star power, Kevin Garnett, Stephon Marbury, and had street cred with the famous mixtape Playground Tour. And One never really went away, but it did fall out of view until last year when the brand relaunched under management of Galaxy International. Joining us now, Maurice Levy, Marketing Director for And One. Maurice, explain where the brand's been and how you needed to jumpstart it, basically.
Sure. So, in the last 4 or 5 years, the brand was sold and then resold again, actually. So with multiple management, everybody had, you know, their agendas and initiatives marketing-wise. With all that restarting, it kind of subsided below the surface from the consumer aspect. Like, although at retail it never really went away, the marketing effort just kind of dimmed down a little bit over that time period.
Well, in the dimming down, you need a statement, and Lance Stevenson was the beginning of your statement. You signed him as kind of one of those pioneer NBA endorsers, but that's just the beginning of a very large iceberg you got to crack. You got Adidas and Reebok and Nike and all of those. How are you going to do that in the NBA?
Well, we're taking a strategy of being very selective. It's about the quality of the player. We have a specific brand message that we're going after. We want to really target players that embody that message. Lance Stevenson's been an incredible endorser. He's very involved with the social media. We always want to have a conversation with our fans and be interactive with them. So we're looking to strike it with young, first, second rounders, new up-and-comers to really be the endorsers of the brand.
I remember street ball in the old days and street ball partners, and you have Summer Remix this year in Philly, Labor Day. You had 8 teams, 100 grand for the winner. That's a big number. Successful, and the whole marketing strategy was to bring back these good memories?
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned it off the top. It had the street cred. It's an authentic basketball brand, and that's something we really wanted to reinvest into. This tournament was about regaining the street credibility, reaching out to all the basketball players, the amateurs, professional players participated, and reestablishing ourselves as the grassroots brand, the premier basketball brand. We're not just a big corporate brand. We're coming into your backyard. We're hosting tournaments. We're offering this big prize, and we want to see the best basketball played. So that was one of our biggest agendas here, was to reestablish ourselves, and with the Summer Remix, we really feel like we accomplished that.
Well, also another context as well. You watch what Jay-Z is attempting to do transformation-wise, and it's blurring the line between sports and entertainment. How important is all of that as part of your marketing strategy?
Oh, it's essential. At our tournament, we had musical performances. It is entertainment, and the value behind the brand was, you know, when it was at its peak in the late 90s, early 2000s, it wasn't just a basketball brand. It was part of an overall culture. You had music involved. You had a certain lifestyle. It was a way of dressing. It was not just playing, but a way of playing. I think what's going on with Jay-Z and with a lot of the entertainers now in basketball is a direct tie back to something that we set out and did a long time ago.
Maurice Levy, good luck with And One. Good luck with the brand, and thanks for joining us on Sportfolio.
Thank you.
That'll do it for this edition of Sportfolio. Our thanks to Bruce Ratner, Joey Chitwood, Len Mosier, Mark Player, and Maurice Levy for being part of the program. You can find more Sportfolio video and more Bloomberg sports business coverage at our website, Bloomberg.com. I'm Rick Haro. Thanks for watching. See you next time.